Okay. This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Wait a minute, there's a hand up. Okay, so Marina, you want to go next after this?
Okay, so Marina, you
Why am I have this echo? I don't know what's going on. Let's see.
John, I think Cordell was first.
Yeah, you'll be next after him.
Thank you, Marina.
Okay.
So good evening, Chair Gilmore, MAC members. My name is Cordell Handler, and I'm a Richmond resident, and I have some invitations for you all. So you are cordially invited to attend a performance of Anton in Show Business at Contra Costa Civic Theater on Friday, March 4th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are only $30, but if you get the youth rate, it's $15. Proof of vaccination is required. That's one. And then number two is you are also invited to attend the Richmond Rotary Club weekly meeting on March the 11th at 12:30 p.m. at the Richmond Country Club. Our guest speaker for that one is Brandon Evans, who will be talking with us about the Richmond Police Activities League, and there's a new culinary program. So please do attend next Friday. I tell you, I've been to the country club and the food there is wonderful. So please do attend. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Marina.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was wanted to speak on behalf of supporting the community's decision to relocate the Castro encampment homeless site. I know Michelle and Lieutenant Stonebreaker is going to speak to that, but we just would like to have the support of the MAC in having that site relocated. And secondly, just so you guys could tell everybody that we have a testing site for COVID located at 369 Chesley, and it's free and it's from 9 to 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Are there any other speakers? If not, we'll go right to.
I had a question, Mr. Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
I was looking at the agenda, and I don't see anything on this agenda about the fire department in San Pablo and here in our community in Richmond. And I thought that was going to be on the agenda. So can anybody answer a question to that, or maybe somebody had a meeting and I didn't know about, but it wasn't resolved the last time.
Tanya's going to cover that in her report.
Okay, and I'll ask her the question.
Yeah, okay. All right, so moving right along, we're going to move to the law enforcement agencies and.
Oh, and Don, we have quorum now, so I don't know if you want to go ahead and approve the agenda.
Oh,
now.
Great. All right, let's go back to the agenda approval. So I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda and the minutes. Do I have a member that would make the motion?
I will make the motion to approve.
And is there a second?
I second the motion to approve the agenda and the minutes.
All right, all in favor, I know you by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay, we move right on to the next, which we've done public comment. So now we're going to number 4, and that would be the law enforcement agencies. I know that we have the police department here, and there's 2 people who are going to probably present. I'm assuming somebody's going to present on regard to the just the report of the activity, and then about the site with Michelle. So please go ahead and start, whoever's going first.
Good evening, everyone. This is Lieutenant Lucas. First, let me apologize. I am on the road. I've been out of town in training, but I want to make sure I got onto the call and addressed everyone. Really, there's only one major or minor incident, if you want to call it that. There's been no change as far as crime stats are concerned in the area, except for the one, there was a death over the weekend, which is being investigated as a homicide that happened in the 400 block of Alamo. 2 roommates got into a physical altercation And as a result of that altercation, one of them succumbed to their injuries and died and later passed away. So our homicide is looking into that as a suspicious death. Other than that, we're still getting, some calls from time to time regarding the impromptu sideshows where we'll have 2 or 3 vehicles in an area spinning donuts throughout the central district, which we address as we receive those calls. Still no clear direction on how we're going to address the major sideshows that have come into our city, but that is being worked on. And then, which I believe Michelle's going to speak on, we do have the Castro encampment cleanup coming up and being worked on. So that's all I have. Unless someone has any questions, I'll turn it over to Michelle if she'd like to go next.
Okay, I see no questions. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, and I'm happy to address you all. Michelle Milam, Crime Prevention Manager for the Richmond Police Department. We also have Lieutenant Stonebreaker on the line, who has been assigned to work on unhoused issues for the police department. I'm happy to be here today just to give you a quick update about the Castro Street encampment. I think the last time I talked to you all was a couple of months ago, and definitely heard North Richmond pretty loud and clear. Some of you all participate in our stakeholders group that we have once a month about the encampment, and I encourage everybody to be a part of that. That we know that North Richmond definitely wants to see the encampment relocated. So a few things on that is in order to be able to relocate the encampment, one of the things that the city has to do is to be able to identify another location. We did look at probably about 5 or 6 locations, not in North Richmond, since the last time we spoke. Unfortunately, many of those locations have not necessarily panned out. There are a couple of locations that currently I know are being considered. One of them that they are looking at right now is there any potential use for Point Malati or the Terminal 4 area to be able to relocate residents? We did a survey around December, and there were at that point in time around 100 residents that were in the particular Castro encampment. Of those groups, we did offer county services and shelter beds in December to many of those folks. I believe about 14 of those who were offered were able to accept shelter. And since then, approximately 30 have been moved into shelter. But there's still a large population that's there. And obviously the thing that's on everybody's mind and concern is fires and some of the safety hazards. So just so you know my role, I don't manage the contract for services for that particular site, but I am here to help assist Lena Velasco, our planning director, with some information around safety, and I help convene the Castro stakeholders group. So I'll go with the tough news first. The tough news is we've had a couple of fires in the last few weeks, and the fire department is still trying to get down to the cause of some of them. To make a determination. There hasn't been an official determination made on the last fire that we had. However, we do have a plan in place to come in and do some encampment abatement and cleanup there to remove some of the vehicles, some of the items and debris that could potentially be flammable, and also to reinforce to everyone who's there that no open flame is allowed. So everyone at that site was noticed about the open flame, and you'll probably be seeing city crews come in and out of the encampment this week, moving some of the items and the debris and excess cars. I know that there were at least 15 cars that were towed earlier this week, and there's plans for more cars to be towed from the encampment. It does take some coordination because some people, the car or the vehicle is their residence, and so it's trying to identify who has what, so that we're following proper procedure when we make tows. So that is something that we're working on. The good news is that we did apply, for those of you who are on the Castro stakeholders group, I don't know if you got the email, for a state encampment resolution grant. We applied for that last year at the end of December over the Christmas holiday. And we got news that Richmond actually received the grant. We got the second largest appropriation in the state. It's $4.8 million. Almost half of that is going to be going to help support people to find long-term housing. It will pay for things like apartments, getting people into residential treatment if that's what they need, helping people with vehicle repair. But the goal of the encampment resolution is not to keep an encampment there. It is to resolve the encampment, and it's to sunset the encampment, close it down, make sure that it's restored and it returns back to the community. It's a 2-year grant, but the bulk of the work would be done in the first year, which is this year. The city has not yet received it. We got notification from the state last week that we got the grant, but we have to accept it before council. And so we're just waiting on that to begin the process of identifying the work that needs to be done to start working on resolving the Castro encampment and getting the resources to people. In the meantime, the safety issues are very important. I have brought up to, we have a homeless ad hoc with some of our city council members, the concerns that we do need more safety and security on the site. And so that concern was shared from the stakeholders group to our ad hoc. Because in the interim, until we are able to get the encampment resolution funding going, we definitely need to make sure that that site has more security, because right now it doesn't have enough. And it's obvious that it's a big issue in the neighborhood we want to get resolved. So I think I've talked long enough about it. If anybody has questions, I'm here to answer them. And I will drop the recording for those of you who weren't able to make the meeting last week in the chat, so that way you guys can have it.
Thank you, Michelle. Is there any questions from Michelle? There is one. Ms. Woodard. Ms. Woodard.
My question is there any security at the encampments now?
So there is security right now at Ride-In, but there is not security at Castro, which is a problem because when this first was set up, initially there was some funding that was available through the city and through the county to be able to allocate to encampments. And initially Castro had safety guardians that were there that were funded by SOS, but unfortunately with the safety guardian program, what we found is obviously a safety guardian trying to confront somebody who might be engaged in criminal activity and some of those safety guardians were threatened. And so it did not work out trying to just kind of do the safety guardian model. So, our request is going to be to come up with some kind of a plan for security going forward. If that's something that the MAC wants to officially take a stance on or request, we can definitely do that.
Okay, any other questions? So you mentioned that the MAC could take a stand on requesting security. Is that?
Yeah. So yeah, you all definitely as residents and impacted residents, like even for the stakeholders community, I send the recommendations to the City Council Homeless Ad Hoc about what your concerns and requests are so that they can make consideration. So if the MAC wants to even write a letter or say that we're in support of the recommendations from the stakeholders group, you guys are part of the stakeholders group as well. You can definitely do that. But I did speak to at least one of the ad hoc members and said that I really felt that it was important for us to try to get some kind of security in the evening at the site.
Okay, so Tanya, if you could draft a letter to that effect, and I assume I have consensus with the board members to do that, and we'll get on record our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, is the one from the Sheriff Department here?
Hi, you got Lieutenant Rodriguez here. I apologize. I'm out of town on training right now, but I wanted to attend and just share the month stats for you guys. So as far as calls for service last month, we had 272 calls for service. The 3-month crime trend is trending downward. We had for select crimes, we had 13 in November, 12 in December, and we're at 4 for the month of January, with those primarily being property crimes, specifically stolen vehicle recovery, commercial burglary, and auto burglary. Our deputies earlier this month assisted our investigations division with conducting a probation search related to catalytic converter thefts. As a result of that, we were able to identify some leads, which ended up turning into suspects. And there have been charges filed against the suspect that is related to cases both through the sheriff's office, San Pablo PD, and as far up as Sonoma County. So with that being said, we're still seeing a trend with the catalytic converter theft. So just remind the citizens in the community, if you see any suspicious activity, please report it. If you happen to be a victim of catalytic converter theft, make sure those are being reported through dispatch and not through the online reporting system. The other efforts that are being made is we've been working with county code enforcement as it relates to the towing of recreation vehicles. As you guys know, there was funding by way of the county specifically for recreation vehicles, as it's a pretty high cost to have them towed, and then also most tow companies won't respond and take that effort on due to the costs associated with it. So if you guys are seeing that within the community, please make sure those are getting reported to us, and we'll make our efforts to get coordinated with county code enforcement and take care of it. That's all I got.
All right, any questions for Lieutenant Rodriguez? Any questions? Thank you, Lieutenant, for your report.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Okay, is anyone from Highway Patrol here?
No, they couldn't make it this time, but I'll request a report, see if they can give us some information.
Okay. All right, so let's move on down to presentations. So we have someone here from Meals on Wheels, Rod.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I'm going to share screen.
Okay.
And good evening. I'm Rod Chu, Meals on Wheels, Community Outreach Manager, and I see some familiar people tonight. Good to see you again. If you've seen our booth, I'm the one behind the table, and I attended the North Richmond Music Festival in the past. Our office is located in San Pablo, and we serve North Richmond and all of West Contra Costa County. We contract with the Senior Nutrition Program as the home delivered meals provider for West County. And our mission is to provide senior nutrition and enable them to live in their own homes as long as possible. About the meals, a registered dietitian designs the meals. Currently, because of the pandemic, we serve 7 frozen meals delivered once a week to reduce contact and for client safety. And deliveries are made during lunchtime. Client eligibility, age 60 or over, and able to purchase or prepare meals, and they're homebound and dependent on others for transportation. New clients and referrers may enroll by phone. And we offer a caravan tour. You can get a preview to see how deliveries are made. For volunteering, we'll work around your schedule and pay it forward. We do have volunteers whose family members are clients or were clients, so there's some special reasons for volunteering. And we also have board member positions available. And please contact us for more information. Is there any questions?
Is this program free and only for senior citizens?
It is only for senior citizens age 60 and over. There is a contribution of $7.71, but it's not required. So unable to contribute, that's okay. You'll still get meals.
I have a question. What's your office's relationship with the, I think there's a Meals on Wheels, just Contra Costa. Is that correct?
Right. So they're the fundraising arm of the organization. And let me go back to the organization chart. So Meals on Wheels Contra Costa, they're the one who administers the senior nutrition program. And we're a contractor to deliver the meals.
Okay, so but they are also the fundraising arm, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, Cynthia has her hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
I would just like to thank Mr. Chu for being friendly and participating in the community. I met him at an event at North Richmond Missionary Baptist Church, and I told him about our different festivals and different activities, and he's been participating ever since. And he never missed a festival, Earth Day, the North Richmond Shoreline Picnic, the Blues Festival, he's there.
Absolutely. Good to hear from you again, Cynthia, and I look forward to more events.
Oh, good.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And we're going to move, if you can unshare your screen, thank you. And we'll move to report from CHDC on Legacy Court.
Great, thanks. Good evening, board, MAC board, and community members. Some of you may know me. For those who don't, I'm Joanna Griffith. I am the Director of Real Estate Development for the Community Housing Development Corporation. And so we'll be coming to you this evening to give you an update on the Legacy Court housing development that's being proposed on Fred Jackson Way. And so this project has been in the makings for a long time. We've made some great progress in the project, and we're gonna do a brief slideshow presentation, which Norma Thompson will do. And I wanna introduce the team that's here with us tonight. Legacy Court is a joint venture project with Eden Housing, and CHDC and Eden has partnered on a number of developments. So we have Mike Rogers, who's representing Eden Housing. From the CHDC team, it's myself, Norma Thompson, who's the lead project manager for CHDC on the project. We also have Rebecca Kilmartin, who is the assistant project manager on the project. And we have Nyamka Culbertson, who's a longtime North Richmond resident, and she's also the development assistant for CHDC. And we also have the architect, Steve Kadama, of Kadama Desenio Architects. So at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Norma Thompson, who's gonna do a brief slideshow presentation, followed by some questions and answers, period.
Okay. Good evening, members of the MAC. Thanks so much again for allowing us to get on your agenda to update you on Legacy Court. I believe it's probably been some time since you've had an update, and so we've made great progress since I'm sure you last were briefed on it. The project consists of 43 units, 42 are resident units and 1 manager's unit. And the project is 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, townhouses over flats. The target for our population is individuals and families who are very low income primarily, and at or below 60% of area median income. And just to give you an example, so for a very 1-person household, very low income, the person would be eligible if they made less than $45,700 a year. And for a family of 4, very low income, the ceiling of income would be $62,500. So we are targeting a very low income population, and in some cases they may be extremely low income. The project is being developed in partnership with Eden Housing, as Joanna indicated, but we also have a partner in the County Behavioral Health Services unit, which is going to provide services to our residents who need support. The project again is located in 3 buildings off Fred Jackson Way, which are at DuBose, Sanford, and Willard. And the amenities in the project include a lot of beautifully landscaped open spaces and on-site parking. We have bicycle storage for 32 bikes. And we have on-site laundry facilities, a computer lab, and high-speed internet connections in one of the buildings. Next slide, please, Kabibi. Okay, this is just another view of the site, aerial view of the site locations at DuBose, Sanford, and Willard. Again, it's just, this slide is just reiterating that it's in 3 buildings, what the location is, and the area amenities I'm sure you're familiar with. Shields Reed Park, the baseball field, elementary school, the county health services. There's a police substation adjacent to CHDC's offices. And CHDC is also in the process of developing a small grocery store, and that would be at Fred Jackson Way and Chesley. We're trying to secure funding and secure an operator to operate the store, and that we are making some very good progress. And at some point, we'll be back to update you on that initiative. Next slide, please, Kabibi. Okay, this is another site view of the project. And this one, the site plan inserts the buildings and how they're going to be situated on the site with townhouses over flats. Next slide, please. Okay, this is an elevation or rendering of what you can expect the development to look like. The first slide, and it says Filbert, obviously that's Fred Jackson Way. This rendering was done earlier on, but this is the front of the building. And then the front building on Willard Street, the front elevation. And then the last one is the interior of the building along Fred Jackson Way. Kabibi, next slide. And Steve Kadama, our architect, is going to quickly walk you through what the actual floor plans.
Okay, yeah, these are just examples of the floor plan. This particular one is showing a 1-bedroom unit at the end. And what we've been doing is putting a 1-bedroom unit at the ground floor as a flat, and on top of it going with the townhouses. What we tried to do is break up the massing of the building to get more to the scale of the surrounding neighborhood. And as you saw in the elevation, there's a 2-story section on the one end. That'll be a 2-bedroom townhouse. And then toward the center will be a 1-bedroom flat with a townhouse on top. And then at the right-hand side will be a 1-bedroom flat, and then a 3-bedroom townhouse above that. So we get a variation in height by this method. And we're going up to 3 stories, but really no elevator, and also a breakup of the massing. Do you have another set? Okay. This is the upper floor showing the townhouse on top of the 1-bedroom flat. In other words, you go up to the front entry, which you enter at the 2nd level. And then from there, inboard or within the unit themselves is on the middle unit there is a 2-bedroom townhouse. And on the right side is the 3-bedroom townhouse. And so we get a lot of variation in size and shape and things like this. But then rather than having the 3-bedroom take up a lot of space at the ground level, it is sort of elevated so that it has a smaller footprint. And again, this is the upper floor of the 2 townhouses. And this is a cluster again that shows the flat at the bottom on the right side, 1-bedroom flat in the center, and then the end townhouse unit on the left side. And how we're using these buildings is to enclose the outdoor space in the center of the lot, basically using the buildings as the fencing around the open space, so the common open space toward the rear of the building. And so this way we have outdoor patios for all the ground floor units. Okay. Again, this is the upper floor. And I think that, basically we try to keep it fairly simple. So we have a repetitive floor plan, but what you see from the outside will be hard to say that it's like an apartment, just a repeated unit. It'll look different because we're sort of twisting the units around to give a lot of variation. So when you come down the street, the first site is going to look very different from the other 2 sites. And but yet they're the same floor plans. I think these are basically repetitive.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks very much for that breakdown. And so this is our project schedule as of today. You might know it takes quite some time and and the schedule can be pretty fluid, but at this point, we feel like this schedule is pretty much on target because we have received funding from the county. We've received funding from the city. We are doing an application to the state for funds. And we expect that we will be able to begin construction in May of 2024 because we are entitled, we have our environmental clearances, and we were fortunate enough to receive 25 project-based vouchers from the Housing Authority. So that will make the project very viable on the operating side. So we'll begin construction in May of 2024 and we'll complete it. It's a 14-month construction schedule. So by July of 2025, the building should be finished. And by the end of the year, 2025, it'll be all leased up. Next slide, please, Kabibi. Okay, this is just contact information. Joanna's told you who all the team members are. Please feel free to reach out to any of us. We did also provide a fact sheet, which basically has the information that we presented. Tanya has the fact sheet. If you would like more information, please reach out to her, or you can contact Joanna or Mike or Rebecca or Kabibi or me. Steve may not have that information, but, but you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to provide you whatever you need in terms of the projects. And so thank you again for allowing us to come and spend this time around legacy. And if you do you have any questions you'd like
Well,
to?
I wanted to add something. Each of the buildings will have a community room. A community room, and one of the sites will have office space for the on-site live-in resident manager and services coordinator.
Correct.
So now we'll open it up for any questions that anyone may have.
Okay, you can stop sharing the screen now.
Thank you, KBB.
There's a question, Cynthia, go ahead.
You're on mute.
All right. On the first set of slides you showed us, I think they need to be updated because you're still using Filbert Street on your presentation.
Right.
Yes,
The
well,
writing said Filbert, but I said Fred Jackson, hoping you wouldn't catch it, but you did, Miss Cynthia. You caught it. We're going.
Filbert Street on the plans.
Yeah, that was a very early rendering of the
Right.
project. Thank you so much. You're very sharp. You caught that. All right.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for the presentation. I wanted to say.
One more thing, Don.
Okay.
So right now we're submitting funding applications to try to secure all the funding for the project. And one of the things we're being asked for is support letters from the community. And so if the MAC would be so kind to provide us with a support letter, it would be greatly appreciated.
So I'm thinking that's pretty much consensus unless I hear something from the members. And then Tanya can draft that up and I can execute it for the MAC. One thing I want to add is that, you know, some projects take a long time because of a lot of different things. It looked like we had everything in this one to take place. We had to move gas tanks. We had to, you know, perfect the underground water. We applied for grants over $2 million to mitigate the issues that were going on there. They was crossing over one street into another lot. So it was a lot of stuff that we had to do to get this. It was definitely a Brownsfield type of deal that we did. So a lot of work, took us a lot of time to get to where we are. I'm glad we're at least seeing where it's gonna come to fruition. And thanks to all the funding sources that have provided with the county and the Housing Authority and the tireless work that both Eden and CHDC has been putting into the progress. So thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the transportation grant update.
Great.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm here. I'll share. Good evening, council members and members of the public. I've met, I think, a few of you before, and I look forward to being able to do this in person in the future. I'm going to do, you all can see the slides, correct? Or
yes, yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to give a quick little presentation on this upcoming grant opportunity with our active transportation program through Caltrans. Again, many of you met me before. I'm Jeff Valeros, Associate Civil Engineer with Contra Costa County Public Works in our Transportation Engineering Division. And I'm also joined here by Mo Nasser, one of our staff engineers.
Hello there, I'm Mo Nasser. I'm a staff engineer at Transportation Department at Contra Costa County Public Works.
Great. So just a quick little agenda. I just want to give a broad overview of this active transportation program. Talk about just prior applications that we've submitted before, ones that were awarded and ones that weren't. And then open it up for what we plan on submitting this upcoming cycle, but also just still receiving feedback from this committee or council talk about just the next steps and kind of the process, and then really open to feedback and Q&A. So just to make sure we're on the same page about this active transportation program, this started in 2013 through Governor Brown, signing legislation to create this ATP, you'll hear me call it. The purpose of this ATP is to increase use of active modes of transportation by achieving the following goals, such as increasing the proportion of trips accomplished by biking and walking and rolling for our wheelchair users, increase safety and mobility for our non-motorized users, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and enhance public health. And so the California Department of Transportation, Caltrans, as we say, is the administrator of this grant program. And since its formation in 2013, there have been 5 rounds of grant applications, and this 6th round is upcoming this month in a few weeks. Keep in mind, if we are awarded funding for any projects, construction would likely occur in 2026 or 2027. So some applications we've submitted in the past, we currently have this project underway, and if you have any feedback on how that's going right now, I'd love to hear it. I was just out in North Richmond yesterday. It looked like it's coming along. The Fred Jackson Way First Mile, Last Mile project. And I believe we applied for a grant for this in, I think 2016. And I believe construction is wrapping up for this later this month. We've also, I've come to this committee to ask for letters of support and feedback on our Market Avenue Widened Sidewalks project, which would have connected from Fred Jackson Way to 7th Street. Hearing from the community, there was more of a focus on wider sidewalks to just improve more pedestrian friendly environment while keeping the parking. Here's just a little rendering of the intersection of Market Avenue and Jeremita Street. And what we are proposing here is, again, the wider sidewalks, what we call bulb outs or curb extensions to narrow the crossing for the kids that access Verde Elementary School, as well as look at opportunities to plant street trees just to improve the quality of life in the North Richmond area. And so with this upcoming grant application, we would like to resubmit for Market Avenue, the Widened Sidewalks project. Again, looking forward to hearing your feedback. I did want to just make note of this, something as part of our county's active transportation planning document we're working on. The consultant threw this idea out there of maybe prioritizing widening one of the sides of the sidewalk to 10 feet to make it a multi-use path for bike and peds, safe for kids who may bike to Verde Elementary. But I wanted to hear your input on that. What you have below is kind of just the proposed cross-section, what we have existing with the 5-foot sidewalks, parking lane, 13-foot travel lanes in each direction. And what we would do is try to bring in those sidewalks by narrowing the travel lanes, which we would hope, in addition to the curb extensions, would help reduce speeding, as there's an association with narrower travel lanes and speeding, reduce speeding, that is. And then the next steps, upon the feedback received from this committee today, county staff such as Mo and others will begin scoping any potential project that may come to light from today's meeting and preparing preliminary layouts. A big component of the active transportation program is that community input is pretty vital, that you help shape the scope of what it looks like. We want to get your feedback to really help tailor it to what this community wants. So we would likely return at a future MAC meeting, and this would be before the grant application deadlines in June 15th. Concurrently with this, as I mentioned, that the county has been preparing their active transportation plan. Just want to bring to light some of the roads that kind of came to light. Handful of them: Brookside Drive, Central Street, Chesley Avenue, which I believe there were some traffic calming improvements recently installed there. Jeremita Street, Park Boulevard, Pittsburgh Avenue, access to the Bay Trail on Richmond Parkway, just to name a few. And then if this MAC is amenable towards it, we also have the opportunity to partner with our partner agency over at Health Services to maybe do an educational component, and it would likely be in the form of a safe routes to school, as to hear from the principal as where kids walk, and maybe do some educational component behind that. And with that, I just open up for feedback and any Q&A, and I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. I see Ms. Woodard's hands up.
Okay, my question, you said you have something to do with the first mile, last mile that's going on now?
My division was the one who had applied for the ATP grant about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, can somebody tell me who's working on the streets out here? And what's
I'll
going
put
on
my-
with the project?
Oh, sure. So after we obtained the funding, we worked with another division of ours, parallel to transportation engineering, our design construction, and they manage the scheduling of the project. So I'll put my name in the chat, and if you don't mind sending me an email, I'll connect you to the right people or give you an update.
Okay, because I do want an update because it's been going on a while and I just want to know when I'll get my sidewalk back, my parking back, and all of that. 'Cause
I
at
believe
one
there was
point there
some-
was a stall.
Yeah, I believe there was some some delays, unfortunately, due to supply issues. I think it's the nature of what we're seeing through COVID, but I believe it's towards the end of this month is when it should be done. But I can give you a much more accurate response. But I'll put my email in the chat, and we can connect after.
Okay.
Any other questions? Comments?
John Steer. I work with Jeff. In fact, we just talked recently this afternoon. I'm John Steer, watershed planner with the watershed group, watershed program of the county, and I'm leading the North Region Watershed Connections project on behalf of the county, working with Urban Health on their rain garden and with the watershed project on its component of the project, which has to do with the adopt a tree, adopt a block, and planting a total of 38 street trees. With respect to the status of the Fred Jackson Way greening component, which is that which Jeff was alluding to in his first part of his presentation, the tree planting will be taking place of the 38 trees there on Fred Jackson Way in March. And presently, you'll see, if you go out there, you'll see the locations where those trees are going to be planted, shown by traffic, basically by cones and also by markers. And they'll be planted about, as I said, about a few weeks. And you can go online, you can check. I've been working with other staff here. We maintain an up-to-date website. So if you were to Google North Richmond Watershed Connections project, the very first thing which will come up will be the web page under the watershed program that relates to this project. And and you can see project progress, a little button off the left, and we'll show you some photographs and also describe the project as of late January. So it'll be updated again in March.
Thank you. Any questions or comments still open?
I still have one more comment. This may be a future presentation to the North Richmond MAC. I need to review a few things with Jeff and his staff before I do. But as some of you are aware, Tanya Polita in particular, our watershed group is pursuing potentially pursuing a North Richmond Green Streets corridor, which would connect Parr Boulevard as a green street with Fred Jackson Way, which is being developed now as a green street. In other words, combining complete street with trees, as you're seeing on Market Avenue being proposed, so that you enhance the public pedestrian and bike access to those streets. So the idea would create a corridor that would go from the Bay Trail access or a staging area at the end of Parr Boulevard, across Parr Boulevard to Fred Jackson Way, down Fred Jackson Way to Market, and all the way to Rumbrell. That would connect it, actually, the Bay Trail to the Wildcat Creek Trail in the city of San Paulo. That's for future presentation for the MAC, in case you're interested.
Yeah, just contact Tanya and get on the list to make a presentation, update. Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, if I'm not hearing any other I guess we'll proceed forward with the Market Avenue widened sidewalks unless we hear otherwise. We have enough capacity to maybe add one more grant application too.
So they can actually contact you if they have comments later that they're thinking about, and then you're going to come back in May before the June submission, or did I get that wrong?
We would likely come back in probably May. And we would request through Tanya a letter of support. We've worked with Robert Rogers before on that.
Okay.
An updated one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We're going to move now into agency reports. And we'll start with the City of Richmond Community Services Department. Do I have anybody here from there? Hearing none, I'll go to Healthy Richmond. Anybody here from Healthy? Yeah.
I don't see Dante anymore, but he did write in the chat some updates. And I could just read them real quick if that's helpful. But he said that that the Healthy Richmond leadership team has been participating in the unsheltered encampments meetings with the City of Richmond and RPD. I believe they're talking about the Castro meetings that happen monthly that Michelle mentioned. And they've also been a part of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District board meetings, and they gave some testimonies. We're also coordinating a meeting between the Housing Authority and the Healthy Richmond team and Supervisor Joya. And then the last piece that they added, and they added a link, is that they're collecting surveys and they're targeting youth. And they shared the link with us to the survey and asked if we could share it with anyone that we know in the community.
Okay, thank you. So you might as well go ahead and continue with your report.
Yeah. So I do have a couple updates. I have been working with Luz Gomez from County Health on the Safe Routes to School initiative. The next step is to do a paint day. We're collaborating with Earth Day. So it will be April 23rd. And the idea is to paint use stencils to paint the Safe Routes to School. So from Verdi to Shields Reed. And we're working with the city and the county to move this forward. And so, yeah, I'm definitely open to feedback around what people think, if they think it's a good idea, or if there's any recommendations or suggestions you have for the paint day. We do have a standing meeting that people can attend. It's the next one's on Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. And this is a meeting for anyone who wants to participate and wants to kind of give their input, help with outreach, or in the coordination for the paint day. So you can contact me and I can forward you that information. An update that the public works staff mentioned is that there's some elevated sidewalks now on Chesley, on 6th and 5th Street. I don't know if anyone has driven down Chesley. I know I drove by a couple of times just to see the difference, and you can definitely feel it, and it has slowed down some vehicles, and the intention behind that was to slow down the traffic for the Safe Routes to School school bus. So I think it's working. I heard that we have received some complaints about it by some residents, but I think that ultimately it's to the benefit of the kids and the Safe Routes to School initiative. So if you have any comments about Chesley and the elevated crosswalks, whether it be good, bad, or just any suggestions, please let me know. And I see Marina has her hand up, so if Marina, you wanna share?
Hi, Tanya. Last year when we started working on the Walking Safe Routes to School project, we actually asked for those speed bumps to be much higher as a table, because people, any given day, sometimes they're doing like 60 to 80 miles an hour going down that street. But I noticed that you guys didn't raise them as high as we want to, but at least the work got done, so we won't complain about that. But thank you.
Okay, I'll make sure to relay the message to the public works, just so that they know that, you know, the community is listening and aware and taking note of the work.
Hi, Tanya.
Yes.
Can I give a comment? Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, so I've been involved with the raised crosswalks on my end, actually. I kind of pushed hard for those because I saw in the quality of life plan about, addressing speeding as well as that walking to Shields Reed. So unfortunately, we couldn't raise them as high as we wanted to just due to ADA compliance. That was unfortunately where we were constricted by. So they were at that height and they were designed that way. I just want to leave that comment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the update. Thank you.
Another update is Urban Till. They couldn't make it this meeting, but they did ask me if I can announce their 4th Saturdays at the North Richmond Farm. This is a monthly event that they have. Everyone's welcome. It's a great opportunity for anyone to learn about farming, to learn about nutrition, to learn about how to grow your own food. And it's an event where they want more North Richmond residents to attend and also want more input from North Richmond residents. So if you have an idea on like a cooking class or any class you want to take at the farm, you can contact Doria at urbantil.org, or you can also contact me and I can make that connection. But that's something that happens on a monthly basis. It's every 4th Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay. And then another update I have is the Viola grant. I just want to thank everyone for helping out with the outreach for the panelists. We are up to 11 candidates now, and we only need 5. So thankfully, we're in a good place to continue with the initiative. As of now, we have to expand the panel membership because there's some seats that are not being filled. So the idea is to expand the membership, make it more broad, so it allows for more people to be able to be a part of it. And so the city's going through that legal process right now. So that's kind of what's stopping it from moving forward right now, but they are working on it, actively working on it. And we do have a meeting coming up soon. And I just want to thank the North Richmond MAC and the Shields Reed Neighborhood Council and other business leaders and resident leaders that stepped up to the plate, because we're in a really good position now to move forward. And then the last thing I'll touch on is just because I know it was brought up, was the fire department policy change that happened. As some people remember, or might remember, but I'll just kind of do a debrief. At our last meeting in February, we had the county fire chief presented on a policy change that was made for North Richmond, which basically made the county fire department the point for North Richmond. This is the fire station that's on Market. What is it, Market? In 23rd. Yes, on Market and 23rd. And so the reason for that policy change, because it was, the Richmond Fire Department was a point for North Richmond. But after the completion of the station on 23rd and Market, the county chief and basically made a decision that they wanted to provide North Richmond residents with advanced life support and paramedics, because the trucks have advanced life support. And there was a concern around the train, and that's a legitimate concern. And they did confirm that, if the train is blocking entrance to the community, that they would contact the city fire department to respond. And ultimately, Supervisor John Joya agrees with the county fire chief's decision to make that that policy change to basically give North Richmond residents advanced life support. So the county believes that we want to give the residents the most equipped, resources and services that we possibly can. And so that's why we agree with the county fire chief. But if anyone has any concerns or comments, please send them to me and I can start making a list. We can respond to them. This is a new policy change as well. So we could also revisit it, and see how has it impacted, services, because at the end of the day, I think we all care about just providing services, high quality services, and the most services that we possibly can. So With that said, yeah, if anyone has any comments, concerns, or suggestions, feel free to send them to me and I'll start compiling.
Tanya, I have a quick question, if I may, to the chair.
Yes.
Yes.
Just so I'm clear as to what I'm hearing, because I think it was maybe it was a month before, because this is now March, so I guess I got to go with January. There was like 46 calls alone from that Castro homeless encampment. And are you indicating that what fire department is going to serve? I mean, are you saying it's all the way from over on 23rd and Market?
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
that one would be served by the one right by it because it's in the city.
Yeah, and it also depends on like the incident. Like if it's a fire, it's still whoever's the closest.
Okay.
That's true.
So it's, yeah, when it's like a life-threatening situation, you know, like a fire or someone is in a vehicle, you know, it's still like whoever's the closest. But these are just like calls that are made for the fire department. And the policy is if the county can get there within a minute of the city, that they will like
respond first
to the site,
Yeah.
because they have paramedics on site.
Yeah, but I think the city is the priority call for that area, and then they go from there because it's in the city and it's right next door. So I think, is that right, Tanya?
No, it depends on what the call is. Like if it's a fire, the city would respond because it's still like whoever's the closest.
Yeah, I think the issue in North Richmond was that they would look to Market and 23rd first, but if the other was closest, they would go there. So the first call in that Castro area, I think, would be the city of Richmond's there, but if they couldn't make it in that time, then it would be the next closest. That's my understanding, but if that's not right, then,
in the city of Richmond.
yeah. Okay. Ms. Woodard has her hand up.
Can Captain Woodards respond to that?
Is he here?
Because-
Does he want to? I don't know if he's here. If anybody, we can ask questions, so we're in that period. So
yes, I'm here.
Okay.
And I'm listening. And the issue is like what I'm hearing is they're saying you respond to fires, like that's the only life-threatening emergency. If somebody has a heart attack, that's a life-threatening emergency, and they're not.
I think they were just addressing the question. I don't think that was meant to be general.
Let me finish because it answers the question. So,
well, she asked about the fire. She didn't ask about anything else. So I don't know if we were saying the fire was for everything or not. That's all I'm saying.
If you was responding to me, because I was told, this is what I was told in our stakeholders meeting, that there was 46 calls and they said medical. So, and that's in addition to the fire. And that's just why I was asking, so who's responsible for doing what? Because we have, I think it's station 67 or 62 that's located right here in North Richmond. And we have to wait for somebody to come all the way across 23rd Street and Market to give us a 911 service. I was just,
Right. That was your question. I
yeah, and the policy is like if the county can make it within a minute, no later than a minute, then the city would arrive, that then the county would respond. So it's like within the minute. So if the county doesn't believe that they will arrive to the scene within a minute of the city of Richmond being able to respond, then they goes to the city.
Okay, Mr. Woodard, go. Will you go ahead?
It's a 1 minute policy.
Mr. Woodard, you still wanted to comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if the North Richmond station, you have the North Richmond station, have San Pablo station. So what happens is they assess a 1 minute penalty, not they respond in 1 minute. If it takes me 3 minutes to get there and it takes meaning North Richmond Station, and it takes the San Pablo Station 4.5 minutes to get there, they still just say it's 1 minute because it's within that minute. So it could be 1 minute and 59 seconds, but it's still within that 1 minute. It's not 2 minutes. So that's a difference when somebody's having a heart attack and you're without help for 1 minute and 30 seconds, 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's still an emergency, but they're saying San Pablo Station will respond to all of those calls. It's not just fires. Cardiac arrest is an emergency. That's not something that should be different than a fire. That's still a rescue.
Are they responding to fires in incorporated and unincorporated North Richmond, or just unincorporated North Richmond?
So this policy is only for unincorporated North Richmond. So that means they will cover all the calls up into Chesley. They won't come on the other side of Chesley into Richmond. So that 1 minute penalty, and this is where it gets confusing because Richmond doesn't have an ALS engine. We have BLS engines. This is what we talked about at the last meeting. But when it comes to life or death, cardiac arrest, difficulty breathing, somebody can't breathe, their heart stops, they're putting Richmond on a 1 minute penalty. So that delays care to you. And if a train comes by and you spend time getting to the train and then you have to call the Richmond station, add on another 3 minutes on top of that for them to dispatch the North Richmond station to come to this call now. That's the bigger picture that no one is talking about. So my thing for all of you is just to be aware of what's happening and what this actually says and how it actually looks to the community, how it impacts the community. If I'm at my mom's house, I don't want a 1 minute penalty assessed on me if my heart stops, period. And you shouldn't either.
Yeah, here's a couple of things. One, you know what you're talking about. Can you write something up for us or give us something so we can take? Because you explained it very well and you know the insides and out. We can go get through that. So if you could give us something that we can have. In the meantime, I know that we're monitoring this situation because I want to make sure that we do this on a regular basis. But I do want to get to the bottom of Mr. Woodard's comments in regard to how they count time, because he makes some points that I'm totally not aware of, but I couldn't convey that in a way that he's doing now. So we need some ammunition.
Supervisor John Joya did mention that he wants to meet with Woodard. So I think if I can help coordinate that meeting, and then at the next
please
meeting,
do. Yeah, please do.
So
after we meet and discuss this further.
We actually had a Zoom meeting about 2 days ago. And we kind of went rounds and rounds, and you know what, if that's his stance because he agrees with Contra Costa Fire, then that's on him. But I'm looking at it from the community's perspective only. You got to look at it from a different perspective. If you can
give us an overview of what you're saying, write it out so we can have knowledge of it and be able to articulate that on the behalf of the concerns of the community.
Okay, I'll do that.
Just real quick, can I ask a question of Tanya?
Yeah.
Tanya, do you have any current or updated statistics that speaks to this this policy procedure or this policy change since it's taken place? What the time?
I don't have it with me, but I can request it. I know that it happened in like October, November, but I can collect all of I can request that from our fire department and see what the impacts are, because I think that's something we still are unaware of. So, and that's something I mentioned to Don, is like we can, revisit this, and like look at the statistics to see like what happened, the impacts. But I'll request that from our fire department and have something.
So one other thing to look at, and then I'll let you guys go.
Thank you.
Is get the data on ALS versus BLS, because there's a reason why the city of Richmond long time.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Wood, finish.
Okay, so the city of Richmond has looked at making our fire engines an ALS engine instead of a BLS engine, but they opted out of that for a long time. One, yes, it has to do with funding, but it also has to do with the number of interventions that you actually need from an ALS engine, which you really don't need until 5 or 6 minutes into a scenario. So that's why the city of Richmond is like, look, we can deal with the BLS, and then the AMR unit, which is the ambulance, they usually get there right behind us, 2-3 minutes, they have the ALS paramedic on board. So just maybe there's some data, and I could try to get that too, submit that data to you so you can look at it and read it for yourselves.
Great. Oh, appreciate that. Any other questions on Tanya's report?
I have a question. I'm not on, this is Jamie Holland. So my question is, it seemed like the decision has already been made for the community as to what's gonna happen, and the community was never told about it before it happened. So to have a meeting with John Joya, him and a couple of other people with the captain and all of that, is what good is that gonna be? Or what good is it gonna do? We're talking about community. The community have concern. And I think, you know, we should have been informed about this before it even happens, to talk about the pros and the cons. But as it stands right now, somebody has made a decision, this is what's going to happen, and this community gotta live with it. Because we're going around and around and around about the process and all of that. We know who's been serving us all these years. That fire station right down there on Fred Jackson Way. San Pablo just got built a few months ago. And now all of a sudden, they are the goddess of everything. So I think the community needs to look at, why is this in place now? Why now are they the big dog when Richmond been serving us all this time? And I think the community needs to really look at that.
Yeah, we can include that on the list as well, the process that it happened. And if it's not a process that includes the community, we should do something to make sure it does going forward. And then we also want to be sure that even while we're bringing out this information that we want to find more about, that we are still getting reports on what's going on, so we can really get an actual knowledge of what's going on in there when they respond.
Is there a way that we can also look, you know, when we create the list, is there also a way to see how, or if there are any monies or funds available to get the same equipment that 23rd and Market has? Is there any way that we can apply to get the equipment for the North Richmond station?
Right, well, I mean, I think there's two different municipalities here. One's the county and one's the city. And so I can't speak to that. We haven't even talked to them about that, but we can include that in our findings or whatever, and try to get that improved as well. So it's definitely on the table. Okay, thank you, Tanya.
You don't need it. Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
have one last comment. I think this needs to be on the agenda every month until we get it resolved, because it's gonna get swept under the table. So this needs to be resolved, so the community will know and not be confused. So we need to get updates every month as to what's going on with these fire departments. Because this is going to go away.
We will see what's practical in regard to the reporting, that we don't want to create another report when they're already generating one. We'll see when those reports are ready. We know they should be at least monthly. If they're every 2 weeks, we'll get them every 2 weeks, but we'll get them, you know, at our regular meeting, whatever it is, we'll have it. Yes, Jessica.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I was at this meeting last month, and so I remember the presentation. And I guess if Anthony is going to put a summary together for this group, one of the main pieces of information that I think should be included in that is, what is the reasoning for the 1 minute, the penalty on the one truck, you know, the 1 minute penalty? What is the reasoning behind that? So I just wanted to mention that because that seems like of the whole, thing. And it seems like the decision, whatever it is impacting the community in a negative way, just from the sound of everything. So I guess I would make sure that in that report is included the rationale for that, 1 minute time penalty for the truck. That's it. Thanks.
Yes, agreed. Definitely agreed. Okay. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, we're gonna move on to Community Housing Developments Report. You heard about Legacy. I don't have anything else to add. I think Janie's gonna bring up some information about the 515 Silver, and she can do that when she gives her report. We're still working on the resource center. I think we're down to the flooring. We ordered it, and it's been delayed. So we're trying to get that ready, at least in the next couple of months is what we're looking at. And so we'll keep you up to date on that in the following month. And that's about all I have. I keep letting folks know that we do have down payment assistance for new home buyers or in the market. And some of you have taken advantage of that recently. So, we layer funding can be anywhere from, 10,000 to 60,000, depending on what you qualify for. So that can go a long way in making a home affordable. And that is all I have. Janie or Victor.
So I'm going to, I think Victor, something's going on with him. He's indisposed right now. But so let me give just a little bit of update on 515 Silver for the naming of the center. A few months ago, the MAC was really interested and wanted to see something happen with the naming of this multicultural center. So CA Dunn has tasked us a committee to meet, and we've been meeting and coming up with recommended names that we're going to name the center. Of course, Corrine Sain's name is in the name of the center. We're looking at a date that we want to have the ceremony so that we can get the center looking good, name posted and all of that. And we're looking at June. I didn't bring my notes. I didn't know I was going to report out. Wasn't it June 8th or 9th done? But
it's the second week in June, I believe.
Yes. And next month when I come back, I'll have the complete name. I will have the date because we're going to do it the week of Neighbor Works Week. So we really plan to have a really nice occasion that day and show off the center, have Miss Corrine here. But in essence, is done. Have been meeting with us, and we're coming up. Everybody know it's going to cost money to do this, so we're trying to make sure that we got funds in place so that we can get everything completed by the date that of the event. So, any questions on that, or? Okay.
And
so that's it.
Is there anything on mitigation at all?
Let me see. Janine is going to give a report and I can help her.
Okay.
Because Victor, I think he got sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Just quickly, I wanted to say that, at Silver, we're actually have been expanding our activities and our participation has increased. And then for the Richmond sanitary illegal dumping logs, the hotspot logs that we're receiving, in January, we had 254. And then in February, it went up to 297. So it was just a small increase of illegal dumping. And then as far as the hazardous that we report through E-Track, we had 43 in January and we had 70 in February. So that's a great jump, but we're keeping up with all the reports, and I'm gonna go. Did you have any questions about the dumping logs, the hotspots? I'm gonna go grab Victor.
So in other words, while she's doing that, with mitigation and the illegal dumping, it goes up and down each month. You never know how it's gonna go each month. So for the month of February, it went up higher than it was in January. And when she said that the 70 and the 43, that just means how many we referred to the city of Richmond to come out here to pick up. But we had a total of 293, 297 that we put into the database. That's how many illegal dumping loads that we had to enter into the database. So we have a cleanup coming up, and the cleanup is gonna be April 30th. That's a community cleanup. We're also working on Earth Day. I hope Dr. Clark is listening, because we will have an Earth Day. We have an Earth Day committee. We've been meeting with the committee. And we will give you a layout of how that's gonna happen next month. You will be getting a save the date card in the mail, or we're gonna be handing it out to everybody about Earth Day. So we're working on a lot of things, and we'll be getting all this information out to you. And starting the 1st of April, we'll just lay it out to you, and you'll know exactly what's happening. We're working in conjunction with service providers like painting the street that goes to the school. That's one of the services that's gonna be going on that day. That's a part of our Earth Day program. And they're gonna be cleaning the creek. So all that information will be on the flyer that you'll get, and we will be getting goodie bags, Earth Day goodie bags. So you will get that. So I think Victor is back. I may have covered, did I miss anything, Victor? Oh, the newsletters. Our quarterly newsletter is gonna be coming out the last of, when are they coming out?
The newsletter that should be coming out in 2 weeks.
The newsletter should be coming out in 2 weeks. That's the quarterly mitigation North Richmond Green newsletter. You should be getting that, and that will have something about Earth Day and about the cleanup. So you have more information on that.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Janie. Cooperation Richmond.
Good evening, everybody. My update is going to be quick. We just had our monthly co-op cafe. Thank you for anybody who showed up. It's virtual, it's free. We talk about all the elements of the cooperative model and structure for any business or enterprise. We also help residents develop and launch cooperative enterprises. So as everybody knows, hopefully you do, Rich City Rides is a bike shop, Black-owned cooperative that has been sustainable for about 5 years now. We're also partnering with CHDC with a small grocery store. I'm hoping to apply for that soon. And then we also are helping residents develop an event coordinating cooperative in Richmond, party rental. So yeah, those are my updates. Thanks so much, and glad to be here with y'all as always.
Hey, Princess, I can't let you go without talking about that wonderful event you guys had that I unfortunately couldn't make, but at Verdi for Black History. I heard it was just outstanding.
Yes, thank you so much. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, It was so great. Thank you, Don. No worries. We understand that things come up. We in the emergency right now. It's a lot going on in the world, but yeah, thank you to Anthony. He was on the call. He came out. We had somebody from Tesla who's a solar roofer, community activist from Richmond Land, and as well as one of our worker owners from the bike shop in Rich City to come out there. We also had a good day. Right after that, we went to the action down at the farm where we helped basically create this awareness about stopping warehouse and fulfillment centers developing in North Richmond.
Great job and great work, Princess. Marina Shields Reed. Is Marina still here? Let me see. Where's Marina? Is there a report for Shields Reed? I don't think Marina is still here. Don't see her. Is there anything else anybody would like to add before we close out? Board members, is there anything that you would like to add before we close out the meeting? I hear none. So thank you everybody for coming, and we'll see you next month. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.